Do I even know what I'm talking about when it comes to generative AI? Do I just rattle off random facts and let you all decide? Well, I mean, this is a live show. It's unscripted, it's unedited. Sometimes I say that everyday AI is the realest thing in artificial intelligence. So in December, I came with a show that was 24 bold AI predictions for 2024. And we just wrapped up the halfway point of the year. And I figured, you know what? Maybe it's time I fact check myself, right? We always bring receipts here on the Everyday AI show. And I always talk about that. So when I came with some wild predictions in December of 2023 about the upcoming year, I said, why should I go unchecked? Let's take this time right now and today on Everyday AI to go and see if I actually know what I'm talking about when it comes to generative AI. So I'm excited, maybe kind of, for today's show, kind of our 2024 AI predictions midterm report. How did we do? All right. So uh, if you're joining us on the podcast, thanks. Always appreciate your support. Make sure to check out the show notes for more on today's show, as well as you can go back and listen to that original show if you want from December of 2023. But also go to youreverydayai.com. Sign up for the free daily newsletter. We'll be recapping today's show and a lot more. Normally, I'd go through the AI news, but this one might be a little bit of a longer show, trying to keep it in check. So if you want the daily news for today, don't worry, it's still there. Just go to youreverydayai.com and get that free daily newsletter. All right. So to our live audience joining us, thank you, Jennifer and Brian and Tara, Jay, uh, Jason, Denny. Thank you all for joining us. Let me know how hot should I bring it today? It's Hot Take Tuesday. I might roast myself if you guys say I should, or maybe just roast whatever I'm talking about in these 24 points. So let me know. Go ahead and drop a quick comment and let me know how hot should today's Hot Take Tuesday be. It's not too hot in Chicago today, so maybe we keep it cool. It's up to you all. George joining us. It's good to see you, George. All right, Tara says bring the fire. We'll see what everyone else thinks. So first of all, let's go back and say, why did I even make these predictions? Well, I had a couple people on the show in December making predictions about, hey, here's what the year in AI is going to look like. And, people just said, Jordan, you do this every day. You should make predictions as well. So a lot of the times, y'all, if I'm being honest, I don't make a lot of decisions here. You guys do. In our newsletter, I have you guys vote. You guys wanted me to make my own predictions. And I said, okay, maybe this makes sense. I've been lucky enough to talk to literally hundreds of the leading experts in artificial intelligence in the world. So I've had, guests from NVIDIA and IBM and Microsoft and, startups who are building, artificial intelligence companies and small business owners and Fortune 100 executives. I've been very lucky to talk to so many people. So that's kind of why I said, okay, well, I've had a lot of conversations both on camera or on podcasts and off podcasts. And there's a lot, right? I realized that after doing this now for 14 months and 300 plus episodes, I've got some hot takes, right? So that's why we ended up doing kind of our prediction show in 2023 in December. So without further ado, let's just go. Hey, Jay said roast it like a marshmallow, so we might have to then. All right. Also, I've got a lot more hot takes for the rest of this year. Because as we'll see, a lot of them kind of got crossed off the list. So if this show was helpful, if Everyday AI is helpful for you, please repost this show on LinkedIn. If you're listening on the podcast, we'll put that link in there. Hey, you know what? If we get to 10 total reposts, I'll do another show for here's the rest. Here's maybe 24 more takes or new takes for 2024, and we'll make them even spicier. All right. So let's start. And as we start with number 24 here, let me just put this back out there as a reminder. A lot of these things, because I went back and listened to this show again last night on 2X, right? So, hey, If you listen to the show on 2x, don't feel bad. When I listen to it, I listen on 2x as well. I get wordy, I get it. Uh, but like one thing I found out is, a lot of these things back in December, because we actually put this show together in November and December, kind of doing a lot of planning. Some of these things weren't being talked about. So when I talk about these things today, you might think, oh, that's not a very bold take, Jordan. That seems kind of safe. Well, back in December of 2023, more than 6 months ago, some of these things were controversial. And a lot of these things that I predicted, hey, this is going to become the norm, were not really being talked about yet. Also, funny enough, I used Perplexity and ChatGPT this morning to fact check myself. So I'll let you know at the end how many it said that I got right. It's like a live CNN debate here, except I'm having the AIs fact check me. So number 24, I said second computer AI. This trend of remote workers who can't use AI. Using it on the second computer. So this was saying, hey, so many companies, especially at the time, were shutting down ChatGPT or cutting off access to generative AI systems. And I said second computer AI is going to be a thing. I think it is. However, I will say at least hit and rewind 6 months. I'd say more companies stopped fighting generative AI to make this less of an issue. But I will say, even anecdotally, personally, I know a lot of people who don't have, whose companies still shut down generative AI. And I've talked with a lot of people as well. And they're like, yeah, I just use it on my phone and then I email it to myself. Or I have my personal computer, oh, we can't use, Copilot. We can't upload, all these files. I just do it on my own computer and save like 70% of the time. So I don't know if I got this right. Let me know. Hey, live stream audience, I could use your help as well. So let me know with this one. And you can put like 24. Was I A, right, B, wrong, or C, other, right? And I'm going to go ahead and shout out some of our favorite comments for today in today's newsletter. So whether you have your own take on this specific one, if you just think I got it right, got it wrong, let me know. So that was number 24. All right. But let me know. Let me know in the comments, y'all. All right. So 23, the education world will change with individualized learning booming. I don't think that this has happened yet. Um, I don't say it's changed. I think we've barely tapped the surface, right? What I envision is, and hey, we're only halfway through the year, but I envision a lot of people just building GPTs as an example for their day-to-day use and really building individualized learning. I think for whatever reason, GPTs didn't take off. More on that later. They're still there. They're still available. They're still widely, sorely underused. But I really did think that people would be using AI to create essentially individualized learning paths. Maybe we haven't seen it yet, but hey, live stream audience, let me know for this one. Did I get that bold claim right? Did I get it wrong? Drop an A, B, or C. Let me know, right? Hey, don't feel bad. You can burn me. You can roast me. It's Hot Take Tuesday. Was I completely wrong about that one? Individualized learning booming. I think it should be. Personally, I don't know if it's there yet, but I'm going to leave that up to you all. All right. Here we go. Thank you. Thank you for some people letting me know in the comments. All right. Let's keep it going. Number 22. I said AI robotics will grab the limelight and start being used in real life. So I think we're getting there. I don't think we're there yet. Again, this is the midterm report. But Figure wasn't even a thing, right? Well, no one had heard about Figure. Figure announced their Figure '01 that kind of literally swept popular culture, right? You saw them then on 60 Minutes, right? In March, where it demonstrated this very humanoid, lifelike capabilities, right? A humanoid robot that could understand, you can talk to it, it could process things, right? I showed everyone the video of this live here, I think back in March when it came out. I was actually at the NVIDIA GTC conference on that Monday when it came out. Crazy, right? The fact that a humanoid robot using a large language model can understand natural conversations. You don't have to speak to it as a prompt. You can say, yo, what's up? What are you doing there? And it's going to say, oh, I'm cutting apples, right? Like it was a wild demo, and it can actually perform a task and then also understand and have a conversation unrelated to the task at the same time while completing a physical task. So humanoid robots, I know people like get weird about it and they're like, "Oh, that's some Terminator thing." Well, no, it's not. It's literally happening. They are allegedly going for sale yet in this calendar year. So I do think that they grabbed the limelight. I don't know if in 2024 they'll start being used in real life. I know already a lot of factories are already using some of these humanoid robots. I don't know. Hey, I don't know who judges, right? What that means if they're being used in real life. But hey, what do y'all think? Joe says, but hey, let me know in the comments, live stream. Am I right, wrong, or other on that one? Joe, great points here. Says AI robotics are cool, but not ubiquitous. The technology isn't there yet. Yeah, I follow this space obviously very closely. Actually, the founder of Figure always has a great weekly roundup on AI robotics. I was lucky enough at that GTC conference to talk to the head of robotics at NVIDIA, right? We had a conversation with him. I got to see NVIDIA's Isaac's robotics platform be unveiled live. I was sitting on the floor as NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang kind of unveiled all this. So I've seen this literally firsthand with my eyes, feet away from these humanoid robots. I talked to the person in charge of them at NVIDIA, one of the largest companies that's actually providing the software and the technology to so many of these companies using it. And I'll tell you, I think the technology is a lot better than people realize, right? If you go down a short and quick rabbit hole on robotics and AI and large language models, I guarantee you will be equally shocked and a little scared. And a little scared. All right. Hey, thank you. Hitashita, sorry if I didn't get your name right, said, hey, for some of these predictions, not there yet. All right. Let's keep it going. Number 21. AI misinformation will run rampant during the 2024 election cycle. All right, I'll go ahead and let me know. Let me know if we're right or wrong on that one. I'll say this. I don't know if it's running rampant yet. However, the election cycle is just starting to heat up, right? Generally, it would actually be a lot hotter earlier, right? Because during the primaries, you would actually have competition. This year, there wasn't really, and I'm talking about the US elections here, y'all. I know we have, I looked up our stats the other day, which we're getting near 1 million downloads, by the way. So thank you all for tuning in. But, there's people from, I think, 200 plus countries that listen to the show. I'm just talking about the US here. Generally, the US election cycle really drags on. Especially because of the primary season where Republicans and Democrats choose who their candidate is. This year, that wasn't ever in question. So I don't think actually kind of the election cycle has really heated up. But I would say starting in late summer, we're going to see this. And we've already seen the potential for AI information and misinformation and disinformation. And here's the other thing, y'all. Speaking of, recent news, Runway just released Gen 3 a couple hours ago, right? The tools are maturing before our very eyes. Even I'd say 5 weeks ago, there weren't enough tools out there to really push this misinformation and disinformation in the US election cycle. There weren't, right? But now we have. So we still don't have OpenAI Sora, right? So when we talk about text to video, but we have a lot of new text to video programs that, I'd say the text to video parts, you can still tell that, they're AI generated. But some of the photo to video in these programs, it is hard, right? So yes, we don't have OpenAI Sora. I hope that OpenAI sits on this past the election cycle. It would, I think, be dangerous for them to release it before. But I mean, we just saw Runway Gen 3. And if you haven't seen that, we're going to be sharing that in our newsletter. It is very good. For some instances, it is hard to tell. We had Luma Dream Machine, pretty good. We had Kling out of China, pretty good just in the last couple of hours or couple of weeks. So I think as these tools over in the coming weeks and months are going to mature and get better, and that just causes the potential for disinformation and misinformation in the US election to go up. So although I don't think, yes, there's been stories, I don't think it's swept the electorate, so to speak, but I think it is going to be problematic. Let me know what you all think. All right, number 20. And you know what? I do have to call out. If I'm going to call out myself, I'm going to call out others. A lot of people, when I came with these hot takes, these bold predictions, people are like, no, you're crazy. None of these are going to come true, right? When I said no meaningful AI legislation in the US around artificial intelligence, everyone's like, oh, of course there will be. No, I'll go ahead and answer this. Dead right on this one. Dead right. And nor will there be any meaningful legislation around AI anytime soon, right? My background, I was an investigative reporter for quite a while. I covered politics. People don't understand. They're like, oh, like even copyright law. There's got to be a new law. Like, no, there's not. Do you all know how long the Copyright Act took? It took 10 years after it was announced. And then there was a 10-year period before that where lawmakers were researching it. So it took 20 years. And people are like, "Oh yeah, we're going to see new copyright law this year. Bookmark it." No, you won't. Like, do you all really not know how legislation works here in the US with a functioning government? It took 20 years to get meaningful copyright laws, right? There's a big difference between laws and legislation versus executive orders, right? From a Biden White House, a Trump White House can put out executive orders on artificial intelligence that mean really nothing, right? And then you can have, regulations from the FTC, right? But those aren't laws. Those are, hey, if you break these, you're getting fined. There will be, mark my words, y'all. We are still legislating the internet from laws from 1996. There aren't even any modern laws, federal laws regulating the internet. Congressional, right? Literally, I believe it's Section 230 is from the mid 90s. That is what we are still using. So if you think that, there's going to be some federal laws around AI, you are wrong. Not going to happen. Period. Period. It won't. Yeah. Yeah. Jennifer saying you just can't control it with a new law. Everybody said that when the internet first started becoming popular. Yeah. And nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. All right. Joe says Congress still thinks the internet is a series of tubes. Yeah. Don't get me started on that one. All right. Let's keep it going. 19. I said, hey, and we're going over our 24 bold predictions that I made back in 2023 on AI. 19, a lot of talk about AI watermarks, but they won't work. What do y'all think? Well, there's been a lot of talk on this. Have they worked? I don't know. I don't think so. So yeah, a lot of companies, I think Google has done a great job. Meta, a lot of the social companies have done a good job saying, hey, we are going to watermark, we are going to denote AI content. I don't know. I'm not on social media all the time. I don't see any of these watermarks out in the wild. I don't even think Google has fully implemented or integrated this. I don't know. I don't think that they're going to work, right? As soon as there is a some sort of widespread agreed upon watermarking system that denotes AI content, whether we're talking about photos, whether we're talking about video, whether we're talking about text, as soon as there is an actual watermark that does work, which I don't think we're there yet, there's going to be 20 companies that are going to be popping up and taking it away and removing it without a trace. All right, so let's keep this going and let me know. Hey, for 19, that's 19. Was I A, right, B, wrong, or C, other? All right, 18. 18. I said Grok will fade into oblivion. All right. Again, these are from November, December. So people, I kid you not, go back and read. Go back and read. People thought that Grok from Twitter, X, Elon Musk, whatever you want to say, Grok, the large language model, based on or built in side of the Twitter platform. People literally, smart people with brains, I kid you not, literally thought that Grok was going to erase literally smart people that talk about AI, that cover AI. They're like, Grok is going to change large language models. I have one word, tomfoolery. No, I've said since before it was released, literally. That's why I'm doing this show. I'm going back to fact check myself. I said it will fade into oblivion. Does anyone out there, hey, we have a sea full of AI enthusiasts listening, joining us on the live stream. Does anyone out there use Grok on an ongoing basis more than ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude? Let me know, yes or no. Y'all, I've said this all along. And people are like, oh, Grok is going to be so amazing. Well, it is trained on a cesspool of data, right? Twitter, hey, I love Twitter. I'm on Twitter all the time. Twitter is mainly it's bots, right? If you are training a large language model on just a bunch of trash data, right? Let's be honest. Uh, you're not going to have a good large language model. You need quality data when you are training a model. If you are training it on Twitter, which is a lot of just armies of millions and millions of bots, literally. If that's what you're training your model on, and so much disinformation and misinformation, and so much of what is even on Twitter is generated by large language models. Actually, some of the better things that are on Twitter is generated by large language models anyway. So you either have regurgitated content or just garbage bot content. Do you think that's going to be the basis of a good large language model? No. I'm going to go ahead and say for number 18, I was A. Right on that. No one uses Grok. No one serious. Sorry, Elon Musk. No one serious uses Grok. They don't. People thought, oh, Grok. All right, 17. Weird. This seems like it was written yesterday, but guess what? It wasn't. 17. Apple will join the AI party late and be the coolest kid at the party. Yeah, guess what? Yo, I know 2023 seems like forever ago, but remember, we barely had Gemini, right? Like all of our generative AI systems, so many of them were infants at the time. People didn't know if Apple was even going to be in the AI game. I said, hey, they're going to join the AI party late and they're going to be the coolest kid at the party. Hey, what do y'all think, live stream audience? Tara says A plus with a lot of pluses. Was I right on that one? Was I wrong on that one or other? And hey, as a reminder, if you have hot takes, get them in. I want to feature some of yours in today's newsletter or your reaction to some of these bold claims from 2023. All right. Number 16, home assistants will finally get smart. Finally. What do y'all think? There's been a lot of announcements, right? There's been a lot of announcements in this space with these home assistants. But I mean, has anything happened yet? I don't know. We've seen that Alexa's next version is going to be using a large language model. It may actually be a paid subscription, is what we heard. We saw Google Astra, Project Astra from Google, which seems incredibly smart. GPT-4o, which will in theory be powering Windows as well and Windows smart devices or smart assistants. It seems incredibly intuitive, right? Y'all remember, we talked about on the show here a lot, the spring event from OpenAI. And so this assistant in real time, it looked unedited because there were some mistakes in there. It not only could respond, right? You could talk to it and say, hey, read me a bedtime story. And then you could say, hey, I want to hear some fear and excitement in your voice, right? And it responds in real time. And then it can denote and detect emotion in your voice as well, right? Smart assistants have been incredibly dumb for 15 years or however long they've been out. Although it's not publicly available yet, it could be at any day. I do think in 2024, again, not publicly available yet, but between Project Astra, between Amazon integrating with large language models, for their next Alexa, and the GPT-4o. People call it Her. I call it Live Omni. I think it's probably going to be very smart. It's probably going to be very smart. Brian says, if Alexa goes paid, I'll be done with them and figure out how to use a better option. Yeah, I can kind of think that as well. I agree. Joe says smart home assistants are still dumb. Yeah, they're not very smart right now. Hey, midway through, do we have it publicly available? As of this moment, no, but there's betas out there in the wild. People have, working versions of GPT-4o in the wild. So some people have it, and they are incredibly smart. As of today, maybe not. All right, 15. AI agents will actually become usable. And I'd said in 2024, we will see more agents than humans. All right, let me know. Am I right, wrong? A, right, B, wrong, or C, other. Leave me a comment. Agents, right? Here's the thing. If you don't follow this space, you might be like, oh, that's wrong, right? Do we have any of these right now? No. But again, just talked about GPT-4o, which will essentially have agent capabilities, right? Y'all, when you have a desktop app, right, and you can click on one button and it can instantly see everything that you're doing, and you can talk to it and it can talk back and you can interrupt it, right? Right. If you're writing some code and you have, multiple screens open, you can click one button and be like, yo, smart assistant, agent, what's going on here? I spent an hour on this. I can't figure it out. And they spit it out, the answer, in a second later and solve it for you. I don't know. That seems like agent capabilities. I think some people originally, when we talked about agent capabilities, they thought of something very technical and not very intuitive, right? They thought about think of like Zapier, right? And how you can, put together, string together these, 10 different automations. I think earlier, right? At the time when I made this prediction, I think there was only LangChain out there, right? And people thought of it like that, right? Hey, LangChain just released their cloud version. It's very good, has agent capabilities. Microsoft announced their Agent Studio, right? So that should be rolling out literally in the coming weeks. They just announced it, literally an Agent Studio. They said you can build agents that can automate all of your work. Push a button, it's going to do all your work, right? That's Microsoft. I'm not talking about some unknown company. Same thing, Google, Astra. I talked about OpenAI, GPT-4o. So are we there today? Probably not. Are we going to be there? Hey, looks like we are. And again, y'all, these were actually bold. I know these seem soft now. No one was thinking this was a reality in November and December of 2023. No one was, right? Are there going to be more agents than humans? Hey, we still have 6 months in the year. I wouldn't be surprised. All right, 14. Retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, will become the next AI buzzword, right? I don't know. What do y'all think? Our podcast audience, have you started to heard RAG a lot more? I've been hearing it as a verb. Yeah, we can rag that. We'll be ragging that, right? I talked in the original episode that, 2023, the dictionary.com word of the year actually was hallucinate. So I don't think that RAG is going to be the 2024 word of the year. But hey, if you are in the AI space, if your company is implementing generative AI systems, large language models, one of the things that you have to understand, one of the things you have to be working on, we did a consult yesterday with this very, very big company talking about RAG, right? I was working with a $20+ billion company a couple weeks ago talking about RAG. Smart companies right now and for the last couple of months have been talking about RAG because, hey, you can bring in all the best, all the most capable large language models, but if you don't have your own data, if you don't have some semblance of retrieval augmented generation, those large language models aren't going to be very helpful, right? And here on the show, and we've been teaching now for many months, is this concept of mini RAG, right? Even doing targeted calls with different large language models for mini RAG. And that's what, hey, Do we have any prime prompt polish PPP graduates in the house? Let me know in the comments if you do. But we just updated. We updated our free training. We got this going on in what, 3 hours. We have one going today. So shout out PPP if you've done it. Let me know if you want to access. You can get in today in a couple hours. But we rebuilt our training after more than 5,500 business leaders have taken it live, free. You can ask questions. One thing is we tweaked our process, our priming process, using what we call refined Q. And it's essentially mini RAG, right? It's a way within a large language model. It's not traditional retrieval augmented generation, but it is a mini RAG. We literally teach you how using out of the box large language models to do a very small semblance of RAG, right? Because you have to have your own data. If you don't, you're going to have 2023 words of the year hallucinations. All right. Hey, thanks, George. George said PPP is the best. I think you're the best, George. All right, 13. Traditional internet browsing becomes unbearable. Unbearable. Maybe this is a personal grievance of mine, but let me know. Hey, live stream audience, am I A, right, B, wrong, or C, other? Get your comment in or get your hot take in. And here's what this is about. I said this many months ago. People don't understand. Even ChatGPT, no one noticed. ChatGPT became Perplexity. I don't know if you've actually pushed the new version of ChatGPT, GPT-4o. They didn't announce this. It has become an answer engine. I did a video on this. I'm like, literally, no one's talking about it. Months later, no one's still talking about it, right? So when we talk about Perplexity being an answers engine, I think GPT-4o with a targeted browse with Bing call becomes an answer engine. And the reason being, and Google's been waffling back and forth on this as well. I don't know. I'd say A for this. I'd say I was right. I can't use the internet anymore, y'all. I am not kidding. I am not kidding. I currently have a split screen up on my other screen. I always have Perplexity and GPT-4o, and that's how I do my web browsing. I can't browse the web anymore, right? Why? Well, because content companies, media companies, publishing companies have lost so much traffic, right? Because of Perplexity, because of ChatGPT, because of Gemini, right? Like, so many of these companies have survived and thrived for a decade or longer, or decades, because people go to their website and they spend time on their website and they click around and they get to serve all those ads. So now fewer people are going there. What that means, what? They triple down on the amount of ads. I can't use the internet anymore. It is terrible. Like I've literally done episodes on this where I screenshot and I'm like, a literal screenshot on my page. There are 4 pop-up windows, and the actual area where the content is, especially if I'm on a smaller screen, is less than 10% of the screen. And you literally physically cannot read anything. The internet is unbearable. Traditional internet is unbearable. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Tara says extensions for the win. Is the internet unbearable? Jennifer says that she agrees. Joe says internet browsing has become mundane. I think SEO will be the next big thing to go. Yeah, Joe, that didn't even make my top 24, but I've been saying for a while, traditional SEO is rest in peace. All right. Let's keep going. 12. This one's funny. Speaking of receipts, right? Again, y'all remember, these seem like safe bets now. I think so many of them seem like safe bets. This was 2023, 6 months ago, which in AI age is like 6 years ago. I said AI copyright battles are going to become commonplace. All right. This episode was December 21st. All right. Guess what happened one day after this episode? And there was no rumors. There were no rumblings. This was out of nowhere. One of the largest copyright cases of our generation, right? It is still ongoing. New York Times sued OpenAI and Microsoft. People didn't believe me. I said there are going to be huge lawsuits, huge companies, literal countries, right? Especially in the EU, being like, hey, tech trillionaire companies, you do know what you're doing is just obliterating copyright law, right? And that's the reality, right? That's large language models gobble up and train copyrighted content. Literally the day after this show, that that lawsuit was announced, and there's been dozens of others. So you can say, you can let me know if I'm A right, B wrong, or C other. I'm going to go ahead and say probably very right on this. All right. And I know sometimes I go off on tangents, but keep your eye on New York Times versus OpenAI and Microsoft, right? We've seen so many content partnerships. Go back, go back. This is the receipts edition. I went back. I've been saying for more than a year that there's only three ways this goes. All right. So if you are part of a media company, you better to figure out which of these three paths you are taking, because you are taking one of the three. You will either do the Microsoft path, right? Or sorry, the New York Times path. You will sue or join a series of lawsuits, class action suits against large language model makers. That's option one. Option two is you enter into a content partnership, either individually or as part of a group, which is what we've already seen, right? Time. Hey, Time Magazine, they're pretty big, right? They just announced that last week. The Associated Press, the Financial Times, Axel Springer, some of the largest media companies in the world have went for option two. Option three, you die. Right? Even right, there's been articles. Oh, you could say, oh no, Jordan, we're gonna put up, we're gonna block, right? Because you can block all these scrapers, the GPT, Perplexity, right? And you can say, hey, large language models, you cannot access our site. So no, Jordan, you're wrong. We're gonna block all these models, and we're gonna still go with the traditional route. No, you're not. They've already bypassed that, right? There's already been huge stories, a lot of controversy. All these big media companies said, oh, we put up essentially blocks in our robots.txt file to disallow or keep these scrapers, keep these large language models from ingesting our copyrighted content. Guess what? It doesn't work. They still do it. They don't care. There's workarounds. They use quote unquote third party scrapers or third party data aggregators so they can pass the blame on them. They still gobble up all the copyrighted content. Three choices. Every single legacy media company. You either sue, you either join the team, or you die. Period. No fourth option. And we're seeing that already play out. People didn't think that there would be, I literally said, you are going to see, it is going to be like NBA players, right? Like when NBA players or NFL players sign like a $30 million like yearly contract, and you're like, what? Yeah, that's what we're seeing. I think Reddit got like $20 million a year, right? You are going to literally see, I think you're going to see nine-figure yearly partnerships pretty soon. We're already in the eight-figure yearly partnerships. I think we're going to see nine, especially when the shoe drops on Microsoft and OpenAI on that lawsuit. Whenever I presumably it's going to be settled. If you want to listen, go back and listen to that episode. I think the legal team dropped the ball on that one a little bit, but it's going to be pretty monumental. All right, number 11, Gen AI training demand will outpace supply. I don't know. What do you all think? What do you guys think? I'll let you guys answer that one. But my hot take in December was, hey, there's going to be more people, more companies needing training than there will be supply. Let me know if that's right, wrong, other. Drop it in there. Let me know. We're going to get going so I don't accidentally turn this into a 2-hour episode. All right, we are in our top 10 for 24 bold predictions I made in December about this year. And we are at our midway point. I'm getting my report card, the everyday AI midterm. We're seeing if we passed or failed. All right, top 10. Big tech companies will become venture arms. So I said Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, right? I essentially said, hey, these big tech companies, they are going to become venture arms. Well, there's always receipts. As an example, Amazon has invested a total of nearly $3 billion. That's with a B, in a single company. People thought I was weird. People are like, no, Jordan, these big tech companies aren't going to become venture arms. They're not going to become essentially giant private equity. And I'm like, they absolutely are. They absolutely are. You want to know who one of the most successful investment companies is in the entire world? Nvidia. Nvidia, right? So investing money in compute in companies, right? And that's what we've seen. Same thing with Amazon. Amazon's investing money and they're investing cloud resources with AWS. Guess what everyone needs? Everyone needs more compute. Everyone needs money, right? So you are seeing, especially, I think, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Google, what's that? Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and NVIDIA. I think probably by the end of the year, if you look at valuations, I'm sure someone does this math out there. I think they're going to have more in their portfolio of investments than the largest investment companies out there because they are investing in the companies that are growing. They're giving them what they need. Because you know what's even more valuable right now for some companies than money? And this sounds wild, compute, GPUs. Because guess what? You can't buy. If someone wants to go buy 1,000, Blackwell chips from NVIDIA, you can't. Good luck. Right? And those are technically the old chips. It is more valuable right now than money. Because guess what these companies are raising money for? Oh, we want to raise $1 billion. What are you going to do with that billion? Well, 50% of it's going to go to compute, right? These companies hold the key. Yeah, that's wild to think. Something more valuable than money. So what do you think? Right, wrong? We'll have details, but hey, I gave you one. Amazon literally invested nearly $3 billion in one company, in Anthropic. Has any other private equity VC firm invested $3 billion in a single company? I don't think so. I don't know. So if you look at the writing on the wall, I'm biased. I'm going to say right there, but let me know. A, right, B, wrong, C, other. Leave a comment. Number 9. Oh, gosh. Here's an interesting one, y'all. More than a year ago, I said, hey, y'all, you guys should pay attention to this little company called NVIDIA. Yeah, go look on the website. More than a year ago, I said this, summer 2023. I said, hey, y'all, keep an eye out on this little company called NVIDIA. I'm like, I'm a dork. I follow this every day. NVIDIA is going to become the biggest company in the world. I said it. Go back and watch, read, listen. In December, people still weren't believing me, right? At that point, their stock went from, I think, 150 something to $500. I have a screenshot here, $489. So still in December, I'm saying number 9, NVIDIA's stock will continue to soar. From December until June, it nearly tripled. Y'all, I don't know. In some of my friend groups, I hate saying this because when I put this out there, everyone's like, oh, no, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. NVIDIA's not going to keep growing. I'm like, yeah, they will. Didn't you hear me just say that they have the thing that's more important than money right now? They're so big they had to go through and do a stock split, right? And I still think, I still think that, even after a stock split, they were up to, I think, about $1,400, $1,300. They were literally the most valuable company in the world. They've been going, back and forth with Microsoft and Apple in the 1, 2, and 3 spot, but they went from a literal unknown, no one in the unless you were a dork like me, unless you were a Bitcoin miner, unless you were a gamer, or unless you covered generative AI daily, a year and a half ago, no one really had heard or cared about NVIDIA. I'm like, yo, they're going to be the most important company in the world. Look what happened, y'all. And they are, hey, in my December here, they still weren't even a top 5 company in December. And I said, their stock is going to continue to soar. I don't think you people understand what's going on. You can't say compute is the new data. Compute is the new gold. No, it's way more valuable than data or gold. Compute. Sorry. But I'm going to go ahead and give myself on that one A. And if you still think, oh, NVIDIA is going to fall, no, they're not. No, they're not. This isn't official financial investing advice, but no, they're not. You got to be kidding me. Literally, every single tech company has formed 2 separate essential alliances to try and compete against NVIDIA. Literally the biggest companies in the world, Google, Meta, Qualcomm, like AMD, all the chip companies. No one's competing. No one's competing. at least not for a couple of years. All right. Number 8. Ooh, this one. Ooh, this one I might have gotten right and wrong at the same time. So I said GPT-5 will outshine Gemini Ultra. All right. So was I wrong? Yes. Was I also right? Kind of, right? Because we didn't see, or at least not yet, we haven't seen GPT-5. And will we see GPT-5 in 2024? Maybe not. Maybe we will. I just had a long post the other day. If you follow us, I don't know, I think I put this on the Twitter machine about how I said, if I'm OpenAI, I am not even releasing a new product. I don't need to because it is still, even with Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which is extremely impressive, even with Google Gemini and their 2 million uh, context window, right? It's still not good. Gemini still not good. Sorry. Uh, it's not comparatively, right? Go look at Elo scores. Don't look at me, right? I tell people always look at the chatbot arena Elo scores. If you don't know what that is, there's been more than 1 million votes, right? And you put in a prompt, you get side by side blind results, and people vote for which one's better. Still, after more than 1 million votes, GPT-4o is still at the top. It's spanking Google and even Claude 3.5 Sonnet, even though it's close. GPT-4o is still the winner in Elo score. So blind head-to-head testing from real users, real prompts, real scoring, GPT-4o is still winning. So will we see GPT-5 outshining Gemini? I don't know. I don't know. We might see a GPT-4.5. Uh, I've said this before. I don't think the model that we have today, because it's the same. If you are using the free model or the free version of ChatGPT and the paid version, you get GPT-4o. I've said all along, that's not the model that paid users are going to have access to in 2024. There will be a new model, whether that's just an upgraded under the hood, whether it's called 4.50, whether it's called 5, I don't know, but a new model will be out there. We went and did a bunch of digging on this. We did an entire episode, but they essentially, OpenAI leaked 3 different models on the chatbot arena, right? And one of them, they later said, oh, yeah, this was actually GPT-4o. Guess what? There were 2 others that were benchmarking higher. Guess what? What are those? No one knows. But I'm guessing one of those is probably 4.5, right? Or 5. I don't know. But regardless, I got this maybe right and wrong, but we're halfway through because there is no GPT-5, but GPT-4o is spanking Google Gemini. Let me know what you guys think. Deanie here says, well, GPT-4o outshines Gemini, so 5 should too. Yeah, I agree. All right, let's keep this going. Joe says, Jordan, maybe you should become a day trader. I always said, if I had more time in my day, I don't know, something about doing a daily live stream, daily podcast, daily newsletter, free live weekly trainings. Something about that is a little time consuming, but yeah, I could. I probably could. I like numbers. I like AI. All right, number 7. I like this one, y'all. Number 7, 2024 will be the year of video AI. Although I did say specifically Pika Labs, I did say it'll be the year of video AI. And you know what? A lot of people, a lot of the shout out to them. They kept their tweets up, but there's essentially some of the most prominent quote unquote, AI influencers or AI educators on Twitter said literal the exact opposite. Literally, they still have their tweets out there. Maybe I'll comment on them and call them out. But they said, nope, AI video is not going to become a thing. And I said, yes, it will. I don't think you people understand what's going on here, do you? Yeah, AI video is really good. If you still think of like Will Smith eating spaghetti, nope, nope. Right? We saw the first quote unquote first mainstream AI commercial. Toys R Us used Sora. Is it the best ever? No. With a discerning eye, can you tell it was AI generated? Yeah. But guess what? 99% of the population probably had no clue, right? Because you're not taking 50 screen grabs of a 1-minute commercial and comparing them side by side. The average viewer probably had no clue. They probably saw that and they're like, oh, this is cool. I like this. Generated completely with artificial intelligence. I don't think people understand how good. Look at we'll share some comparisons, right? Like I talked about Runway Gen 3 just released. Dream Machine from Luma just released. Kling, Chinese company, just released about a month and a half ago. OpenAI Sora is not even publicly available. The AI video just over the last few weeks, bonkers, y'all. And it is good. We'll try to share just a Runway Gen 2, Gen 3 comparison. To say it's night and day is doing a disservice to that comparison. So we're midway through, but let me know. A, right, B, wrong, C, other. Let me know. I want to know, hey, y'all, I need you. I know I can be biased sometimes, and y'all said bring the heat on Hot Take Tuesday today. So I'm coming with some opinions, but let me know. I need you guys to keep me in check. Am I right, wrong, or something other? All right. Number 6. All right, we're getting in the top 5. I'm gonna go a little quicker now. I said GPT wrappers are going to die. All right, so essentially what that means, if you don't know, uh, in November, December, essentially GPT wrappers were huge, huge. There were literally dozens of companies that were making, and they shared, they all shared this online, that were making 6 to 7 figures a month. So are the companies or side hustles? I'll leave that up to you. But if you're making $1 million a month, I'd say that's a business, that's a company, right? But there were so many essentially quote unquote AI tools that were GPT wrappers or AI wrappers, right? So that's essentially in a matter of like an hour, if you're fast and if you use AI, you can literally create a program, an app that uses the open AI technology, and you can put it on the front end and say, oh, look, I have a product. And on the back end, it's using OpenAI's API, or it's using Claude's API, right? Or it's using Stable Diffusion, etc. You can create an AI product or service in a couple of hours if you use AI and if you know what you're doing, right? But so many of them rose to prominence, right? A good example, PDFs, right? Before OpenAI kind of released GPTs, before they released their new interface in December, there were dozens of companies that literally all they did is they said, hey, upload your PDF and you can chat with it. All right. Literally, there was dozens of companies that this is literally all they did. I don't know if any of them are around today, but I don't think so. I don't think so. Hey, that's an area where Google Gemini shines. That's an area where Claude, Anthropic, and their 3.5 shines, and the new projects feature, which is amazing. I just did a comparison of projects and GPTs yesterday on our YouTube. Did dozens or hundreds of companies die? Yeah. Is there a track record? I'm sure someone's keeping track, but let me know. Did all the big GPT wrappers die? Was I right or wrong about that? Sound off in the comments. And again, please get your hot takes, get your comments in. I want to throw some in the newsletter today. Number 5. Ooh, here we go. Number 5, I said, and this one was probably hot, right? So in December, this was like peak GPT store, right? So OpenAI in November, they kind of announced, and then in December started to roll it out, the ability to create your GPTs. And a lot of people were like, oh, this is going to be bigger than the iOS App Store. And I think it maybe could have been. Is it today? I don't think so. But I called it in December. I said OpenAI will need a GPT boost for its GPT store to be a smash hit. All right. So I said at the time, and I quote myself, I said, I don't think GPTs are quite there. And I did say this GPT store, there was a lot of hype. There's a lot of hype. They said, hey, this is going to be the next iOS, store. Obviously, there's been, companies for now a decade and a half that are huge companies, right? There's literally companies that are 8-figure, 9-figure companies that just started as iOS app developers. And they obviously grew, right, into huge, huge companies, unicorns. And a lot of people said, oh, we're going to see the exact same thing with the OpenAI's GPT store. Well, no. I did roast it when it came out, and I said, this isn't even a store. And OpenAI completely dropped the ball here. And I don't know. I said that it's going to need some additional features or stability. I said, as it was released back in late November, early December, it wasn't going to be a smash hit. So do you think the GPT store was a smash hit? I don't know. Let me know. A, right, B, wrong, C, other. What do you think? Do you live in the GPT store? Are you using the GPT store as much as you're using like an iOS app store? Eh, I don't know. Number 4, and here's where we get into touchy subjects, y'all. I know you don't want to hear these. All right, number 4, I said job prospects will be scary. AI in the workplace will lead to massive job loss in the US. Yeah, let me know. I know we don't want to talk about this, um, but we have to. We have to, right? I'm not, I'm not going to take up another, 10 minutes of your time talking about this, but we did a show. We did a show earlier this year that looked at this, that looked specifically at this very thing, right? It was, will AI take your jobs? It was our 1 year, kind of our 1 year episode, our 1 year anniversary special. And the answer is, yeah, it is. People didn't pay attention, but in the first quarter, and now that the second quarter is in, we will probably do a similar show once some of these numbers start coming out. Tech layoffs were at an all-time high in the first quarter of 2024. And guess what? It was also from companies that were recording record profits. Doesn't make sense, right? I'm talking Microsoft, Google, Amazon, right? Companies that had trillion-dollar market caps and whose stock prices were at an all-time high, whose profits were at an all-time high. All those tech layoffs were also at an all-time high. And people were like, what's this about? And I've been saying this, y'all, for a very long time. I said, follow the money, follow the big companies. That is going to set the pace, set the tone for the rest of the workforce. And again, I've been saying this now for longer than a year. I don't know why I've always had this weird feeling about quarter 4 of 2024. Because I said, okay, the big tech companies, they're going to start implementing generative AI and large language models early 2022, late 2022. They've had this technology. They've been working on it for many years. And I said, they're going to start to see and reap the benefits in 2023. And then they're going to start to go through a lot of layoffs in 2024. And hey, can't argue with the numbers. Tech layoffs were at an all-time high quarter 1, 2024. And hey, so many of those companies have invested billions, tens of billions of dollars in AI, in their AI systems, in large language models, in other companies, yet laying off thousands, tens of thousands of employees. People don't like to talk about it. Wall Street hates employees, right? If you invest in AI, if you say AI on your earnings call like 85 times, and if it was more than your last earnings call, if you talk about AI, if you invest in AI, if you implement AI, and if you lay employees off, it is literally the most successful blueprint right now for public companies. I did an entire episode on this. People don't want to talk about it. I showed graphs. I said, oh, look, here's literally on a line graph, the number of times a company talks about AI in their calls, and here is their stock prices over the last year. I did our own original reporting because no one believed me. Oh, look, can't argue with numbers. So let me know, right, wrong, or other. 3. All right, top 3. I said early AI movers in the business world will gobble up bigger competitors. So I said generational Fortune 5,000, so not Fortune 500, but Fortune 5,000 companies will start bleeding and get leapfrogged by smaller competitors. We're midway through, right? So have we seen dozens of horror stories about, some big name players who were too slow to adapt to AI? Kind of fall off the face of the competitive business landscape? Maybe not. So I don't know. Even on this one, I'm going to give myself a B on this one. So wrong so far, but we are midway through 2024. So I'd love your thoughts. Does anyone else out there have a hot take on this? Are we going to see this yet in 2024, where early AI movers, so those that, a year and a half ago when ChatGPT first came out, as an example, that adapted early, right? I think we had a cautionary tale in Chase, right? JP Morgan Chase, as an example. And I've talked about this a couple of times before. Very early on in the Chat GPT, kind of 2022, late 2022, they were very public and very adamant against large language models. And they blocked it. And they said, no, 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 no. And at the time I said, they're going to 180. They're going to 180 on this. People don't know. They're going to 180. They can't say no, no, no. They're a financial institution. Guess what large language models are great at doing? Financial analysis. 6 months later, JP Morgan Chase all in. Yes, 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 yes. And then you have dozens or hundreds of companies emulating, right? That's how the business world works. There's probably, metaphorically speaking, there's hundreds of small banks and small financial institutions that have a poster of JP Morgan Chase up in their office. Like a kid slaps up, a kid who wants to be an NBA player slaps up a poster of MJ, right? And you follow and you emulate them. There's hundreds of financial institutions that emulated Chase. And so when they first said, no large language models, no AI bad, all those companies said AI bad. And then when Chase and JP Morgan Chase did a 180 and now they have their own internal large language model, then you had all these other financial institutions be like, oh, AI good, must large language model everything, right? So I think early on, there was a lot of follow the leaders, and some of the biggest, most visible companies were too late. They sat on the fence or they said no. And most of them have already done it about face because they realized if we stay down this path, we're going to lose. We're going to get leapfrogged. We're going to get gobbled up by either a similar size competitor or a smaller competitor that's chasing us and has already successfully implemented generative AI. I mean, you saw similar things with management consulting companies. A lot of them early on said, nope, not a chance, because they felt threatened, because all the stories came out and they said large language models are like having a McKinsey in your pocket. So a lot of large language model companies, a lot of management consultant companies thought they were smart and saying, oh no, we can't use this. This is a threat. Now all of a sudden, literally most of the big management companies or management consultant, your big four and your second tier, they're all investing billions with a B, billions of dollars in building their own large language models. Let me know. All right. Our last two, we got to wrap this up. This is a long one. I try to not make this a long one, y'all. Number 2, big acquisition in the large language model space. So I said in November, December, I said there's no other way this goes. There has to be a big acquisition. I said either Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, or Anthropic will make some sort of acquisition. Guess what? This went under the radar and it's being investigated right now, but Microsoft had an acqui-hire, right? They essentially acquired, I believe, who was it? Gosh, I should know this now. I think it was Inflection AI? Yeah, it was Inflection AI. They essentially acqui-hired Inflection AI, one of the biggest. I would say they were maybe, quote unquote tier 2, maybe behind Anthropic, behind OpenAI, but Inflection AI was huge. Microsoft acqui-hired them, and from that acqui-hire or acquisition, right? They have their C-suite now running Microsoft's new AI division. Personally, I think it was a very smart move by Microsoft, but hey, it happened. It already happened. Microsoft hired that, second tier AI company, huge one, right? It was just under $650 million in licensing. And I think they said in total, it would add up to being more than $1 billion. Pretty big acquisition. And it already happened. And we still have months. So I'll let you decide if I was right, wrong, or other on that. And then our last one, number 1, I said the generative AI wave will in 2024 become a tsunami, right? And here's where this one, here's my beef with this one, right? So many people, and I was vomiting in my mouth, in late 2023, everyone saying Gartner hype cycle, AI, Gartner hype cycle, right? And they're like, oh, we are at the peak of inflated expectations or whatever. And here we go. We're going to go down next year. And I said, no. I said, The Gartner hype cycle does not exist in this case. It literally does not exist. In the same way that the internet was not hype. The internet changed how we work. So my thought is there is no hype cycle. AI is just how we work now. And I've said this many times before. I said, if you're not already using a large language model daily, if you're not already prompting daily, you will be soon enough. You will be soon enough. And there's no denying that, right? Microsoft Copilot this week is already starting to ship out and roll out its new and improved Copilot system. Future versions of Apple, right? So if you are a Windows team, there you go. The new Windows Copilot PC Plus. I think that's how it is, PC Plus, right? With AI baked in on-device AI, right? Same thing. MacBooks coming out are going to have the same thing, baked in AI into the operating system. AI is not hype. AI is not a trend. It's how we work. It's the future of work. All right, that's it, y'all. I know this one went a little long. Sorry about that. But if this was helpful, please go ahead, repost this, tag someone. I said, hey, if we can get 10 people to repost this on LinkedIn. So if you're listening on the podcast, make sure to check out the show notes. If you're here on LinkedIn, go ahead, click that repost, share this with someone. If we can get to 10, I'll maybe come with 24 new hot takes, and I'll make them even spicier for the rest of 2024. It seems like a lot of my hot takes were safe now, a lot of my bold predictions. But if I'm telling you right now, a lot of them seemed a little controversial or far-fetched at the time. Did I get 100% of them right? No. I told you at the end I'd let you know. So I had Perplexity and ChatGPT fact-checked me this morning. It said 20 out of the 24 were either true or partially true. And the other 4, there was not enough information yet. So you all let me know. But hey, at the time, I felt these were kind of crazy back in November, December of 2023 to make some of these bold predictions. But it seems like a lot of them are happening, have either happened or are currently happening. And it's very likely that they will happen soon. So I hope this was helpful. Please go to youreverydayai.com. Sign up for the free daily newsletter. We're going to be recapping all these. So if you didn't listen, or hey, you can't do 2x when it's live. So please, we're going to be recapping everything in the newsletter today. If you're still listening here live, let me know what you thought. Get your hot take in. What is your one biggest hot take for the rest of 2024? We're going to get some of our favorite in today's newsletter. Please leave them. We'll shout you out. Thank you for joining us. We hope to see you back tomorrow and every day for more everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.